It's time now for the Daily Take, and that means Geraldo Rivera. Hello, Geraldo, and
hey, Connell.
Learn more about the Middle East from Geraldo than just about anybody else. You've been saying forever that this is a tricky part of the world, and you know, you got to be careful. We've got a deal in place, so to speak, but now making it work long term is a whole other story. How do you see these developments?
It's where you go to get your heart broken. You know, I've been watching it for these many decades, and it always has a sad ending. I said when President Trump got involved, and it appeared as if we were going to have this historic breakthrough, that maybe we could rewrite history. Not so sure now. I think it's very, very urgently important, Connell, that we get the third-party forces on the ground in Gaza. We've got a couple of hundred U.S. GIs ready to move. I think you need Turkey, you need Egypt, you need Qatar, you need you know, these partners, the UAE, to get people on the ground. It's got to be like Berlin in the Cold War. You've got to split that city up. In Berlin, it was the French, the British, and the Americans got 3/4. The Russians got the other 1/4. Gaza, they've got to split it up. They've got a plan. They've got to try to implement that plan. You're not going to disarm Hamas by words and Qatar. You've got to disarm Hamas. You've got to have cops on the corners. You've got to see construction workers in there. You've got to have that aid starting to flow. You have to, and I think the president has been pretty good on this, not lose focus on this issue. It's damnably complicated, and the stakes could not be higher. But you got a lot going on in the world, but you can't lose sight of what's going on in Gaza.
Is he almost, and understandably so, you know, almost too desperate for this to work, because he put it together, Trump I'm talking about right now. I want to play again what he said on Air Force One about the peace deal when they were asking him about these flare-ups. Here's the president.
Nothing's going to jeopardize. You have to understand, Hamas is a very small part of peace in the Middle East, and they have to behave. They're on the rough side, but they said they would be good, and if they're good, they're going to be happy, and if they're not good, they're going to be terminated. Their lives will be terminated, and they understand that.
Okay, but that first part of the answer, he said nothing is going to jeopardize it. What do you say about that?
No, I think that's exactly, everything he said there was exactly what needed to be said and needed to be heard. That shows the president having an understanding about the proportionality of it, about the reasonableness of it, about the pragmatic obstacles to seeing it consummated. That's good Trump. I like that. You know, the fact that he's off and now he's going to be meeting with China, I don't think that's necessarily bad. He's just showing the world that he's the president of the United States has broad responsibilities and needs broad shoulders to deal with it. But I worry about, for instance, you mentioned earlier on the program the end of food stamps on Saturday.
Yes.
My goodness, you can't have you're going to do away with food stamps. If 12% of the American population, it's just you've got to pay attention to the different things that are going on. But he's got to be president of the United States as well as the top diplomat for peace on earth. But he's got a lot.
Yeah, that one's really going to hurt. I saw
a stat. Can't forget.
Geraldo, that, like, you know, sometimes we talk about like what stimulates the economy, you know, that kind of language, that food stamps are the most kind of direct stimulus you can think of for the economy. So to take them away is to take away, you know, something that people just really literally need in their day-to-day life, and it's like 40 million plus people. So this is a big weekend, it feels like. I don't know if it'll break them in Washington. But
you got to feed hungry people. You also have to buy milk from the bodega to keep the bodega in business.
Right.
This is a vital. 12% of the American population, was it 1 in 8? This is a big deal. That's bigger than many nations on Earth. And to me, I would threaten, if I were Donald Trump right now, I would threaten John Thune, Chuck Schumer, Mike Johnson, and Hakeem Jeffries with arrest. I'm gonna arrest you for I don't make something up. The neglect of duty. Impeach them. Do something dramatic to say we're not satisfied with this kind of brinksmanship where the fate of these hungry families is hanging in the balance because you can't get it together to talk and make a deal with your opponent.
Well, we'll see. It wouldn't be, yeah, the president has a flair for the dramatic. I don't know if he will on this issue or not. On the mayor's race, so there are a couple of interesting things with, you know, Mamdani leading here in New York. So we've been covering this like it's a national race, but it's getting a lot of attention. I understand why. He's up on Cuomo. There you see the latest numbers and the average from our friends at DDHQ. There, you know, like a few signs that maybe there's some late momentum for Cuomo, like older voters showing up early to vote. Some people are pointing to that, that maybe this is a little closer than it looks, or maybe that's wishful thinking. I don't know. How do you see it?
And that's wishful thinking. And the altacacas, the old folk, always are the ones that vote early. So any hang your hopes on the early voting. And full disclosure, I have already endorsed Andrew Cuomo. I lament the fact that I can't also vote for Curtis Lewa, my dear friend. Mamdani, I continue to believe is going to be a disaster, although I'm sure that it'll be less of a disaster in real life than it is in my vivid imaginings. The whole idea of having a free, fast bus relationship. You're going to have free and fast on the same bus? Almost impossible. Yeah, I've been around a long time. The bus is not fast, even when it's not free, and there are fewer people on board. I just think that it's going to, New York will have to deal with what it's like to have the idealists in charge with their very thin portfolios and their lack of experience. Where the city goes as a result of this historic election, I don't know. But I think to hold out hope for Andrew Cuomo is perhaps, you know, self-indulgent and not real, Connell.
Yeah, some of the Democrats in this area, not in the city necessarily, but like in the suburbs, they, you know, it was interesting. Like Tom Suozzi, you know, the guy out in Long Island, he's a Democrat, but a moderate guy. He endorsed.
Great guy. I like Tom. I like him.
Suozzi, yeah, used to be in charge of Nassau County. Now he's a congressman there. He endorsed Cuomo today, who's technically running as an independent. So.
Well, Suozzi's always been. He's never been a radical. He's not a hard left guy. You know, his ascendance or return to elected politics there in Nassau County is just a victory of the establishment. His endorsement of Cuomo, not surprising. Don't know how many votes he brings with him. He's mostly Long Island-centric rather than city-centric. But just with my children, you know, over the last week and talking about what they've been talking about, it's all about Mamdani and an excitement and undercurrent of optimism.
You can't talk them out of it, huh?
You know.
You've tried.
If I could, I would. If I could talk to the people watching right now out of it, I would gladly indulge in that. I just think that with that thin, he's a 34-year-old assemblyman, Mamdani is, and he's got a bunch of kids that are loving him to pieces because he represents what AOC represented a couple of terms ago. And even more promise. He's got Muslim people so charged, so you know, excited over this race.
Well, he's
in so many ways,
the problems.
It's historic.
You know,
I hate to be curmudgeon, but
it's an expensive city, but the solutions is the question. You know, but he's got. I get why people are upset because it's a very, very expensive city to live in, and he's identified that. And he's come up with these plans. Whether they'll work or not is another question. I got to run now, Geraldo. Though, as always, we appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.